Every single morning, roughly 85 million American women pick up a razor before leaving the house. It's an automatic response, as routine as brushing your teeth or putting on deodorant. Over a lifetime, the average woman will spend roughly $10,000 on this habit. That is $10,000 spent removing something her body produces naturally, for free, on its own. This behavior isn't an unchangeable law of nature. It's a manufactured habit that has existed for barely a century, though its origins are buried beneath decades of marketing. Archaeological records show grooming is as old as civilization, but it didn't always look like this. In ancient Egypt and Rome, bronze mirrors and iron tweezers were used by men and women. Hair removal was an indicator of high social class or devotion, not a requirement of womanhood. For the 1,000 years following the fall of Rome, European body hair disappeared from public conversation. Heavy fabrics and loris sleeves covered everything from neck to ankle, and if no one could see the hair, no one had an opinion on it. That changed in the early 1910s when fashion silhouettes shifted. As sleeves got shorter and necklines dropped, women's underarms were exposed to the public for the first time in modern history. Initially, women wore these sleeveless dresses with their natural hair visible. For advertisers, this presented a problem. Millions of women felt fine about their bodies, which meant they had no reason to buy a solution. In 1915, Harper's Bazaar ran an ad that changed the trajectory of the industry. It didn't offer a suggestion. It labeled underarm hair as objectionable and an ugly personal problem. It was an attempt to create an insecurity where none existed. The blade company Wilkinson Sword saw an opportunity to double its market. Their strategy was blunt: convince women that underarm hair was unfeminine and then sell them the razor. The expansion moved to the legs in 1941. When the United States entered World War II, the government diverted the entire nylon supply to the military for parachutes and ropes. Stocking production stopped, and women were forced to walk around with bare legs. Razor companies capitalized on the shortage by tying hair removal to the war effort. Smooth legs were marketed as a contribution to home front morale, an act of looking your best for the boys overseas. This wartime standard was cemented by pinup culture. The most famous images of the era featured women with perfectly hairless limbs, setting a visual expectation that survived long after the war ended. By the 1950s, the beauty industry began reclassifying hair removal as basic hygiene. This moved the practice out of the realm of cosmetics and into the realm of health. This classification carried a heavy implication. If being hairless is hygienic, then possessing natural hair is implicitly dirty. Shaving became a moral obligation rather than a style choice. The debut of the bikini in 1946 expanded this territory further. It exposed a region of the body that had never been public, creating a new zone for the beauty industry to manage. Within a few years, corporate vocabulary expanded to include the bikini line. It was a brand new term for a brand new market, turning a previously ignored part of the body into a source of concern. By the end of the decade, the expectation was so entrenched that choosing not to shave was described as letting herself go. The natural state was now framed as a failure of maintenance. Resistance emerged in the late 1960s. During the 1968 Miss America protest, women publicly stopped shaving as a political act. They were identifying the fact that their insecurities had been manufactured for profit. The media responded by turning the movement into a punchline. By focusing on the appearance of the protesters rather than their economic arguments, they turned hairy legs into a social deterrent. In the 1980s, the industry adapted. Shame-based ads were replaced with the language of the movement they were fighting. Shaving was sold back to women as empowerment and a personal choice made for one's own confidence. This refined standard was then exported globally. Through Hollywood and massive advertising budgets, Western grooming requirements reached markets in India, Brazil, and South Korea, often overriding local traditions where body hair was neutral or even celebrated. The industry didn't need to defeat the rebellion. It simply adopted its vocabulary. By framing a corporate requirement as an act of liberation, the sales pitch became unassailable. The physical cost of this standard is significant. Women routinely accept chemical burns, razor burn, and infections as the price of normal maintenance, treating skin damage as a routine side effect. Social media has moved the standard toward automated digital erasure. Modern beauty filters use software to instantly remove skin texture and body hair, ensuring that a generation of users rarely sees a natural body in their feeds. We have moved from the 1915 ad calling hair ugly to the 2020s algorithm acting as if hair doesn't exist at all. The history of the razor is actually the history of a corporate blueprint, a repeatable method for turning the human body into a source of revenue. The steps are consistent. Take a natural feature, reframe it with clinical language as a problem to be solved, and then sell the commercial solution at scale. Anti-aging marketing follows this path. Wrinkles are the physical evidence of a body that has been alive for decades, yet they are sold back to us as a disease of the skin, with serums offered as the necessary cure. The teeth whitening industry uses the same logic. Human enamel is naturally off-white. This healthy, standard state has been repackaged as a shameful defect to sell billions of dollars in whitening strips and treatments. Knowing this history doesn't provide a new set of instructions or what to do with a razor. It simply provides the context needed to understand why the choice was framed for us in the first place. You can't make a free decision about your body until you know who engineered the options.